Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to blast through and show some Lepanthes that are in bloom. There's some things that are recovering really well, and some things that are just going absolutely crazy and blooming like crazy. And so there's a lot to get through, so stick around if you want to see some of the things that I have in bloom. Alright, so the first plant I have here is Lepanthe Valana. It's a very cute little Lepanthes that makes very, very green leaves. Very, very bright green leaves. And the flowers, most of them are actually born from the underside of the leaf. And so when you look at it normally, it doesn't seem like there's too much in bloom. And then you turn it around and you see it's going crazy. Let me see if I can zoom in to a flower. These are very intricate little flowers. And the coloring is really cute, I think. It's a bright magenta center with some golden yellow on the exterior and a lighter yellow on the outside. Yeah, very, very, very cool Lepanthes, and from what I can tell, it's pretty easy to grow. I haven't had too many problems with this. Yeah, Lepanthe Valana. Next up here we have Lepanthe Gargola. You can see here this plant is really vigorous, putting out a ton of leaves for me. Really happy with how that's going. There's some moss growing on this mount too now, and so really happy. I think I put a little piece of it on there over half a year ago, and now it's covering this whole top part of the tree fern plaque, so it looks really nice. Flowers on this one are maroonish color. There's a zoom in footage of that, and yeah, I think this is one of my easiest growing ones, so I definitely recommend this if you're just wanting to get into Lepanthes. So this is Lepanthe Gargola. There's also a xanthic version, so the flower is I think completely yellow and green, and the leaves are all green and don't make any of this red pigment at all. But yeah, pretty cool plant. Next, alright, the next plant I have here, very vegetatively similar to Lepanthe Gargola. This is Lepanthe pubescens, and again, another really easy grower, I would say, and I would definitely recommend this plant as well. Here's the flower. It's got very, very intricate little sepals tails down here, you can see pointing out. Yeah, Lepanthe pubescens. And I got another one down at the same time. This one here is, again, vegetatively very similar. This one is Lepanthe tomentosa. At least I purchased it as tomentosa, but to be honest, I don't know if it's if it actually is. It might just be pubescens within the, because it kind of lies within the species variation of that. But these leaves are a little bit more rigid, so but still very similar to pubescens and gargola. And again, I'd say this one's pretty easy going as well. Alright, so here is one that really likes me a lot. As you can see from how clumpy this plant is and all of the flowers on it. This is Lepanthe Mayora. And they have little orange flowers that kind of look like little stars. These are really tiny, and you can see my camera can't even really zoom in that much. Really need a macro lens to see this better. One thing I really like about this plant, vegetatively, is the underside of the leaves. They got this really beautiful purple tinge to it, and so yeah, really like this plant. It's really small too, which is awesome because you can grow like a huge specimen sized plant with not that much space. Anyways, Lepanthe Mayora. Alright, I think this next one might be the Lepanthes with the smallest flower that I own. This one is Lepanthe Acarina, and let me zoom in on that for you there. So this one is, yeah, the camera can't even focus on it, it's so small. But this one is really interesting. As you can see under the flower there's a seed pod. And this thing is actually what's called cleistogamous, meaning it just pollinates itself. Because I didn't pollinate that, and I don't have anything here that would pollinate that, and this has been making seeds ever since I got the plant. Pretty cool. Leaf-wise, it doesn't really clump as much as some other Lepanthes do, but nevertheless, it's a very steady grower, and I really enjoy having it in my collection. Alright, here we have another one that kind of looks like Lepanthe Gargola. This one is Lepanthe TP Sicker, and this is one of the first Lepanthes I've ever purchased, actually. And so I've had this plant for probably like 3 years now, because I'm still pretty new to the hobby, relative to some other folks. But yeah, you can see the flower here. It has a really nice purple color to it, and the leaves as well are really pretty on this plant. Show you the back. See, they're really nice and vibrant purple. And oh, okay, yeah, this thing is a cakey machine. I don't know if you can tell. So here, you know, it's cloning itself. You see the roots growing out of this leaf. Here, there's another keiki. Here, there's another keiki. I mean, there's got to be at least like 5 or 6 keikis on this plant. But yeah, really great grower with cute little flowers. This little guy here is Lepanthe ortig. Show you the flower first. These very delicate little petals, and the color is a really nice, pretty neutral color, I'd say, beige with like a muted reddish tinge. So I have I think like 18 of this plant, and it's because I bought a flask from Ecogenera. And you can see my plants are now going through what is called a leaf jump, where the newest leaf is significantly larger than the previous leaf. And so I was not sure how big these got, but it looks like it'll get pretty big. You can see this leaf is all the way out here, and I have a couple that are actually even longer than that. But yeah, Lepanthe ortig. I think this is one of the more warm tolerant Lepanthes too, if you're looking for something that is, if you have a warmer condition and you're looking for something. Here's a good old classic, probably one of the most popular Lepanthes, or one of the most popular Lepanthes in the hobby. This is Lepanthe Flora. People love this because of the huge flower relative to the tiny plant. This is the only one I have open right now, but I do have 6 of these. And I've recently moved them to a little bit shadier spot. You can see the leaves are getting kind of red on this one, indicating I'm giving it too much light. But yeah, they're starting to clump up again since I've moved them, and you can see here the size of the flower versus the plant is amazing. Yeah, if you haven't heard of it, definitely recommend keeping this if you have warm conditions, because this is one of the more hot tolerant Lepanthes as well. Flora. So I got here another Lepanthes that has really good flower to plant size ratio. This one is Lepanthe Lepanthe. That's as close as my camera can go. But if you look at the 2 petals in the middle there, with the 2 little vertical pink things, those look like bunny ears, or leporids, which is why this is called Lepanthe Lepanthe. Not quite, I think, as popular as Flora, but that might just be because it's not as available as Flora. I think this is a more recent discovery as well. But nevertheless, a very awesome Lepanthes to have, and it's almost always in bloom for me. Alrighty, this one is very special because it was a volunteer plant. Probably the most exciting volunteer plant I've ever had. You know, volunteer plant referring to something that just kind of grows out of another plant you bought. Didn't intend for it to be there. This is Lepanthe declivis. It took me a while to ID it, but here it is, the flower on the back. And I'm really excited to have this one because I don't have anything like it in terms of the shape of the flower and the color of the flower. And I really like this green border on the outside of the underside of the leaf as well. A really cool plant. I'm hoping it makes a new leaf for me sometime. It's been on 3 leaves for quite a while, but it's still healthy and it's producing more flower spikes on the back. You can see there's a second inflorescence coming out. So yeah, who knows? Lepanthe declivis. Okay, this plant is from a recent order I put for Tarzane group, and alongside Telona Flora, I think this might be one of the most popular Lepanthes out there. This is Lepanthe Calodictyon, and it's because of these super gorgeous leaves. Yeah, the reticulations are just really, really intense and awesome, and these flowers are really deep in color. Relative to the other Lepanthes that have these kinds of traits. And so, yeah, you can see my plant is settling in well here. Here's a new leaf coming out. This tiny leaf here is also new. So really excited for this to clump up. And I can show you kind of what this can become by showing you something that's similar. So I'm going to do a fancy zoom out shot here, but there's the flower first. This is Lepanthe tentaculata, and this is kind of what you can get, you know, if you grow the plant for 3 years. And so you can see the leaf reticulations aren't as intense as Calodictyon, Calodictyon, the one I just showed. And the flowers are a little less colorful, but nevertheless, a really, really awesome plant to have. I need to groom my plants before I do these videos. This is a really warm tolerant Lepanthes, and it's pretty cool tolerant as well. And so is Calodictyon. More warm tolerant than cold, I think. But yeah, these things get huge, so really excited to see what that looks like in I guess 2 years. This I got as a single leaf because when I imported it, it didn't do well with shipping. But I mean, if you put it somewhere it enjoys, it just blows up. So yeah, super recommend Lepanthe tentaculata or Lepanthe calodictyon, again for just getting into Lepanthes. Alrighty, this here is Lepanthe pictilis. This plant used to be probably 20 times the size, but it had a little overwatering situation, unfortunately, and so it is now just recovering with this latest leaf, looking very beautiful. This flower has some really cool characteristics. You can see here, there's like some really interesting, if this leaf will get out of the way, there's some really interesting red markings on this flower, and it's pretty big, I think, for Lepanthes. And when it's really happy, this thing can have like 4 or 5 spikes per leaf. Right now there's just one lonely flower, but since it's recovering now, I anticipate that it will recover pretty well for me. Alright, this is Lepanthe rebes. Currently it's the only Lepanthes I have that has these like globular flowers. There are a couple species out there that look like this, or similar to this, but I have a couple of these because I got a flask as well. And let me zoom into the inside for you because the petals in there are really cute. They kind of look like devil horns. Right there, you see those green petals? Really adorable plant. Unfortunately, every time they bloom, they kind of face towards the inside, so that's been something that happens, I guess. You see this bud here is also facing the inside. And I guess maybe that's just characteristic of this plant. But yeah, really cute Lepanthes. I need to get more of these globular ones in the future. I think we are at the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around. Please let me know if you enjoy this kind of format of just, me talking about some flowers that are in bloom. And if you have any suggestions of other kinds of videos you want to see in the future.